classes a week.
Allow us to journey into these altered states.
It really whacked me psyche though, big time.
If you just sit reading books, you know, it's the shadow because you're not going to be in your body.
Welcome to Creating Space. Bringing people together. Real conversations with real people. Telling stories and sharing our gifts right here in the heart of Liverpool. Inspiring new ideas, education and co-creation.
Choose a challenge that lights you up and is going to make a difference in the world.
Creating Space.
Sponsored by the Scouse Guru app.
Okay, we're live. Episode 17, Creating Space. My name's Martin Bowen. We are in Liverpool podcasting studios in the heart of Liverpool city centre. And today, this is a great conversation. This is the hero's journey. We've got four wonderful men. Post-retreat interview with Men Without Masks. And obviously, we've got the main man himself, Craig White, in the studio. So, Craig, men, good evening. Thank you for being here.
Good evening.
Over to you, Craig.
Well, I'm really excited about this one. I've got my best mate and facilitator on my left. I've got David, Ian, Alex, and James. And these four young, handsome men have recently done our Men Without Masks retreat exactly 3 weeks ago. So within this conversation, within the flow of the conversation, we're going to be exploring why they chose Men Without Masks. What were their expectations? How did they feel initially when they came into the retreat in that kind of sticky period? What were some of the factors or some of the things that happened in the retreat that enabled them to feel safe and allow them to express? We'll also talk about some of the favourite parts of the retreat or maybe some unfavourite parts of the retreat. And I'm really interested to speak to these men about their experience post-retreat. What was it like when they got home? How has the experience of the retreat affected the relationships, affected the business? They're all successful businessmen in their own right. And just really excited about this conversation. And nothing's been staged. And I'm looking forward to listening to these wonderful men. So the first question to David. David, why Men Without Masks? What were your expectations coming to the retreat? What drew you to us?
I think it popped up on my Instagram, like many guys, right? And it popped up on a friend of mine, his profile, and he was talking about he'd been, and he talked about what he got out of it, you know, purpose, direction, a connection with his emotions, his feelings, and also brotherhood. And I think at that point, I'd been kind of, in my consciousness, I was looking for some sort of men's retreat, you know. I've seen for myself that my relationship in groups of men had always been like football, cricket, but it never gone much deeper than that. So when I saw this, I just felt drawn to it in terms of the work and what it was about.
Great. Ian, same question to you, mate.
Yeah. Well, the Men Without Masks, what it's based on, the 4 archetypes of man, king, warrior, magician, lover. It came up briefly at something I was doing with Martin, and it literally was, he said there's some good literature there, and he said it once. I looked for it, found it, read it, and I was blown away by it. Passed it on to my 2 sons and my father, and we had 3 generations who were chatting about it, which really did help. And again, like David, like the role models in your life always come from football players and, you know, iconic people that didn't really resonate with me, but I was looking for something in them, and I found it in the book. And actually just looking at the pictures of the 2 men on the book, I thought they're not your bog standard role models, you know. Wasn't really impressed by them, but what they've written, blew me away. So then I do support anything Martin does, but regardless of that, when he spoke to me about what you were up to, I just knew I had to have a dip into it. More to do with that, the book resonated with me, and I can comprehend it and I can understand it, but I'm not doing deep work on that book. You guys were. So for me to get the opportunity to go and explore it with someone who's actually, you know, looking deeper into it, I couldn't knock it back really. And couldn't fault it.
Okay, so knowing that we followed the map of the 4 archetypes was a carrot, and also you resonated with my story and Martin's story, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And just for viewers watching, what Ian's referring to is the classic book, The King, Warrior, Lover, Magician, and there's other books around this topic which are beautiful as well. And these are 4 archetypes, or if you like, energetic or psychic energies moving through us, parts of our psyche, parts of our being. And we use these 4 archetypes just as a general framework to move through. And within those 4 quarters, we have lots of juice and lots of different activities and processes. But we embody these different archetypes because they feel very different as we move through the retreat. We find it extremely useful. And we also add a 5th archetype, which is the archetype of brotherhood, which is really missing in today's world. Alex, on day 1 of the retreat, you got out your car, you brought your bags in, you checked into your room,
Yes.
this incredible location, Broughton Hall in Skipton, and then we met in that room, 25 men in a circle, bit of music playing, nobody knows each other. What was going on for you then, mate? And what happened later on to allow you to feel safe?
Day 1, I was nervous. I was thinking, sort of went in thinking, I'll be able to wing this. There's a big group of men. I can just network my way around the room. Won't be a problem. But I was sitting there at the beginning, I thought, what are we going to do? Everyone was sat in a circle. It was a totally new experience for me, and I was out of my comfort zone, but I was expecting that. And then you did a quick intro, and I thought, this guy reminds me of Matt. So they're all, they're all on the same team. And then I sort of think, listening to you speak and the sort of precision in what you were saying and how concise you were, it's just sort of, I think you have sort of an ability to put people at ease just if it's with eye contact like it is now, or if it's just what the words you're saying. Within 20 minutes, I sort of felt, to step back a bit and I'd stop being on edge. And I think we started with essentially introducing the ho and a 2-word check-in.
Yeah.
And the beauty of the circle was, I came to learn this throughout the time, so it's not original thinking now what I'm saying, but it only takes one person to be vulnerable for, 1 or 2 sentences, and then all of a sudden everyone, okay, he said he's nervous, so it's okay if I'm nervous now.
Yeah.
And I guess the retreat itself really, really encapsulated that. It was a space for blokes of all different backgrounds. Like we are, all different upbringings, businesses, whatever that is, stages of life, to be able to be vulnerable amongst one another, and there'd be absolutely zero judgment, and that was an amazing. Well, that was the beauty of the retreat itself.
That was just the start, wasn't it?
And that was just day 1. That was just like 20 minutes in. I was like, wow, what's going to happen here? And then,
So seeing a group of men openly share was like giving you permission to do the same, right?
for me, yeah, it was. Yeah, absolutely. That was the permission. Seeing someone else do it.
And Alex, I hope you don't mind me saying this. It seemed that the first 2 days for you were a bit of a roller coaster, but then on day 3, day 4, and especially day 5, you beamed, you shone, and like from the time when your mind was saying, "What am I doing here?" to the time when you felt incredibly engaged and the playful side of you came out. What were the key components of the retreat that made you feel, do you know what? I'm safe here. I can be myself. I can be silly. I can just have a laugh. Like, what was it?
For me, it was, and this isn't being said for effect. It was you a couple of times. You just caught me. I think you just saw me. I was so in the shadows in those first couple of days, and I was so uncomfortable, and the whole experience was so new to me. And I started thinking, I'm a confident lad. Like, what's going on here? Like, how come I'm not shining? This is normally a place where I'd shine. And you grabbed me a couple of times, said, "Come on," like, gave me a bit of a shake. And I guess what you do now is giving me permission.
Yeah.
And Magician Day was where I was 100 Club and the Lodge was where I really sort of found something sort of just changed. Yeah. And I did feel safe.
Okay.
And it was just that sort of what do you call it? It's not just a dipping your toe in. It's
immersion.
It's an immersion experience. So for me, as each day went on, it was getting. My confidence was growing. I was feeling more comfortable with what was going on, and I knew more what to expect.
Right.
So the immersion experience itself, I think, is all part of the magic.
Yeah, thanks, mate. So Martin's playfulness gave you permission to be playful.
Yeah, it did, because Martin was a teacher there, and he was, he was higher up, and I thought, but it wasn't. But that's the way I was viewing it. The facilitators, they were the four gods. It wasn't like that at all. But you just grabbing me, and I couldn't dance. I couldn't do it. I could not bring myself to do it, and I still regret it. And I still think about it. Why the fuck? And I told my missus about it now, and she's like, I can't believe you couldn't dance. You're normally the first one on the dance floor. You grabbed me hold of me, and incidentally at the beginning, I felt really guarded against you for some reason, and you were the person that actually came and got me.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that was in me, but it's opened so many doors now, and it's amazing just to sort of investigate that.
Because we naturally project, don't we? Especially when we get there on day one, and you're in a room. And you're looking around, but you don't really know anybody. So then there's just this natural projection, you know what I mean? I like the look of him, don't like the look of him, you know what I mean? You're sizing men up, and when we do that in the world, especially as men, we're naturally always looking on the on the other side of for me it was the other side of the tennis court, but you might be on the other side of the bar or the other side of the office desk, and you're just naturally comparing, competing. Sometimes you're in the supermarket buying your shopping and you're planning someone's death. Do you know what I mean? I wonder how I could take him down, you know what I mean? And it's just this mindset. Yeah. So when we, obviously what we do with Men Without Masks and we start to feel a lot more at home and we feel safe, and we spoke about this, just that vulnerability, that playfulness, and sometimes it takes men a couple of hours, sometimes it takes men a couple of days. Everyone goes through their own individual process, don't they? And even though we're unpicking loads, and it is an immersion, because the retreat is saturated with amazing experiences from what we do in the room, where we're sharing information and we're educating, to the smaller mini shares, around where we're able to express how these energies play out in our own lives, and then to the embodiment exercises, and even, obviously we eat food together, and then it's just even the space, isn't it? The space that we have in the day. There's time to actually enjoy the facilities. So we'll come on to that shortly, you know what I mean? Because we've also got a new home in Broughton Hall, and it was a big part of how people could enjoy the space, wasn't it?
It was funny. Alex's first words to me was, why are there so many Scousers on this course? I said it's subsidised.
Yeah, you get it half price.
It's half price, yeah. But what you're saying is even 5 Scousers in a room is daunting.
Yeah, of course.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, all confident and loud and brassy,
Yeah, of course.
So it is awkward.
But it very quickly wasn't.
No,
it was beneath that bravado rubbish that everyone went in with. I mean, I certainly did.
That sums up your feeling a little bit, isn't it? About some of the Scouts.
It was, and it was blokey at the end, and men amongst men in that first 20 minutes. It really did take some settling down, but once that got stripped away, and it did rapidly. It was such an amazing place to be and thing to experience,
because there was no labels anymore, was there?
There was nothing.
We all come with our, obviously our own baggage, but our own labels. We've all got a different profession here in the room. I know, David, you're like a sexuality relationship coach. Ian, you're a property developer, a family man. You're an art dealer, an antique jewelry, and then we've got James over here. He's an engineer. So men with all different almost labels from all walks of life, but then all of us, it just falls away, doesn't it? And then it's just men. We're just in a room. We're just exposing each other. We're being exposed, and then there's just this almost this like remembrance. You're like, okay.
And them titles weren't relevant.
No.
I didn't speak about the scale of my business or how small it was or big it was. It wasn't relevant.
That's the beautiful thing about retreat. We get all men from all walks of life, you know, from you know, like highly functioning CEOs who are flying, high flying, who, you know, are looking to maybe just feel into a few other aspects of their existence, maybe relationship stuff. And then, you know, you've got you know, you sort of, you know, your young entrepreneur coming through, and then you've got ex-sportsmen. You know, we get so many, Craig, don't we? You know what I mean? And that's the beautiful thing about Men Without Masks as well, isn't it?
It is. Where's my train of thought? I want to say something about the length of the retreat, because even within this room here, within you 4 guys, in my judgment, we've got 2 guys here who seem to really love it from day one. And if we'd have ended at day 3, you'd have got a lot out of it.
Yeah.
And we've got 2 guys here who are probably the 2 guys who had the most incredible transformation on day 4 and day 5.
Yeah.
Especially you, James. And that's why we do 5 days. There's something magic about that number. Like, how was it for you on day 1? Because I know that you were nervous.
Yeah.
And how did you shift, and what helped you to shift during the retreat?
Yeah, it was turning up. I didn't find myself awkward getting into the place. I'm okay getting in there, but deep down it was like there's 25 blokes there. And then when you first start going round, just a little bit of you lifts on those first couple of words, like when you do your 2-word check-ins or why you were, that every single bloke there, just something lifted from him a bit. And then some people took a bit more to lift off, but some people opened up straight away. And it was just all those little lifts created this amazing space between everyone. And everyone felt it from the first time they spoke in that circle. And it just carried on. And yeah, as you say, it was full on. It was good days.
Yeah.
And every moment of the day was, no one knew what to expect, but every single time you just finished whatever we did, it was like, wow.
Yeah. It's got better, it gets better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like...
And then you were just laying in bed or thinking about the next, what can happen?
Yeah.
And then something happened and went, well, I didn't think that.
Yeah.
Was there a day or was there a time when the penny dropped and you felt, wow, and you felt more potential, you felt more yourself? Was there a time during the retreat when that happened?
Probably around the 3rd day. And we were doing some exercises, possibly in the yoga room. And it was just everything seemed to went light on me.
So the day of the warrior.
Yeah, I was quite, even though I was sort of moving, I wasn't really letting go. But then something in that room happened, and then I just totally let go. And then I went for a walk. I remember going for a walk on my own, out in the beautiful estate.
Yeah.
And just being aware of everything. It was unbelievable.
A light bulb moments, isn't it?
It's like that door had just opened. It's like I'd just been looking through a little keyhole.
Yeah.
And just seeing things, and then you just opened the door
Bang.
and it said, there's a world out there.
Yeah.
You know, in our kind of interpretation of that, you know, that kind of, it sounds like your focus broadened, yeah? The broadening. That happens when you get into the body.
Yeah.
That happens when everything slows down and we shift from thinking and analysing to sensing to feeling to being. David, a big part of your work seems to be kind of moving into, you know, relationship, connection, intimacy, embodiment, feelings, being in the body. How was that experience for you in the retreat? Did you think we'd do so much work in the body? Like, how was it for you? Because you seemed to flourish in that part of the retreat.
I wasn't expecting it at all, actually. I was thinking, you know, when you walk into that room, right, the beautiful room it is, and you see these chairs and you sit around and you think, we're going to spend a good amount of time in here. We're going to be doing there's going to be flip charts and studying and reading and all that kind of jazz. And then I think it was day 2 in the morning, we were in the yoga room, which was a stunning room, right? to be in, to go to walk and be in there.
Avalon.
Yeah. To be in there, like stunning room, stunning view, everything. And I can't remember exactly whether it started off with some yoga and it moved into some movement. And I was like, oh, wow, there's a lot of movement in this. And I was like, I quite like this. And by like day 3, like I thought I'm pretty present in my body. I feel my body quite intensely. But by day 3, I was like, my body feels like on a couple of levels above of aliveness, you know?
Yeah.
Like I can feel any small little part of my body. I think there was even a moment where I was like, oh, I think I might, that old knee injury, I can feel that there. Let's just be careful with that. And it was just being really deeply aware of what was going on in each part of my body that was really beautiful. And I really took it away afterwards as well. It's just like being able to kind of snap into the body, move. Like I find myself, my hips were even more loose. I was walking with more of an ease around the streets and wherever I was going. So yeah, I was quite surprised by that, but it was a really beautiful, like I loved it. I love that. It wasn't necessarily easy straight away to get into, but I found new levels and depths of embodiment, of movement, of flow.
Thanks, mate.
Can I answer that question?
Of course you can, mate. Yeah.
I found an intelligence below the brain.
Yeah.
Which was a light bulb moment. And it did take till Martin's deep meditation that culturally you're told that you think with your brain.
Yeah.
So that's the only place I used to refer to. And it you know, it's never let me down. But when it's busy, it's not going to let you down until you pass away, is it? So it's always there in some form, but I didn't really know I could get out of it and still have the intelligence from below the brain, you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm describing it properly.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
yeah, I felt more confident in giving in and letting that go, a little bit of surrender maybe, and trusting the body. And the things that you do in the yoga, they're definitely key to it.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, if you don't do them things, I don't know how I would have come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to come to it sitting reading or sitting. It's all.
Yeah. And I know, like, for
brain-based,
anyone listening to this, you know, we're talking about yoga here. It's not necessarily like real, like, traditional yoga, is it? Where it was like very linear, very difficult to experience. You know, we've almost now catered the retreat where, we say yoga, but it's, you know, really it's just movement, isn't it? Movement, which is expression, movements, expression, free movements, and obviously we're just holding the space. We create the space, you know, using the right music, using the right tone, and then how we then deliver it gives you the opportunity to do just that. It's to, like, get out of the head, get into the body, get into them other levels of intelligence. But it's not necessarily, because people are afraid of that, even that word yoga, aren't they? You know what I mean? Yoga, not for me, that. And really, you know, we just want to emphasize that we're not doing yoga. You know what I mean? You know, we're not moving in them linear ways. We're very much just allowing freedom of expression, Craig, isn't it? You know, which then feels very familiar to men, don't they? You know what I mean? Some men, you know, they move in these ways, and it's like, wow, this feels familiar in some way or other. You know, I don't know how I'm meant to move, but I'm just letting myself go. And then you realise there's no right or wrong way to move.
Well, how do you bring that description to the masses then of get out of the mind and into the body? Because that's such a chasm to jump, isn't it?
I think we, like, you know, we us as facilitators, you know, we do talk about dance a lot, or freedom of expression, or breathwork. You know, and we do an immense amount of breathwork on the retreat, don't we?
It's interesting you just brought that question, because I was actually going to come back to you, because your sharing about the intelligence of the body is really important. So my question to you is, after the retreat experience, if your missus says you got to get out your head, you got to get in your body, or if you're watching a program and it says men have got to get out of their heads, what's your go-to now? How do you do that? Because we gave you some tools, didn't we? Like what works for you? Yeah,
well, I mean, meditation is something I can fit in.
Yeah.
Ecstatic dance isn't, because we've got loads of ornaments, you know, around the house. So that, and I haven't, Craig, I'm going to have to tell you the truth. I've come back and I've integrated, and I've actually I've watched the benefits, and I'll thank the course for it. Have I nurtured them? I'd say no, I haven't. You know, I'm going to be honest today. But to get back into it, I I know I've got to get back into the yoga. I'd like to do the ecstatic dance or some kind of movement. I don't know. Does the jiu-jitsu help, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot, it certainly does. You know what I mean? That is one reason why I did get into jiu-jitsu. I've been doing jiu-jitsu now for about a year.
Yeah.
And one of two reasons. One, I wanted to learn something new. You know what I mean? You know, we become so familiar with movements. And so I wanted to learn something brand new. And two, I knew that it was going to put me in the body completely. And it does, you know, like getting on the mat with another guy and you know, and rolling out some sessions, you know, and doing it in a really safe, respectful way. For me, it's been an incredible game changer. You know, I'm very familiar with getting into the body. I'm okay with dance. I'm okay with yoga. I love going to the gym, but I think there's so many different ways to move, and jiu-jitsu has offered me a whole new dimension of movements where I can actually not just use the body and the intelligence of the body, but also to use the mind at the same time, because you're almost thinking about, you know, what your next move is, or not being, not being tapped out as such. So there's a lovely synergy between mind and body within jiu-jitsu, which I feel is a beautiful symphony of expression.
Yeah, well, I did. I was listening to the words a lot of the times. Matt speaks very well, but I'm reading a bit about etymology and stuff. And I had a little moment where I was very relaxed and I was very in the body, and we'd done some dance. And then Matt said something about winding down of an evening. And I thought the word winding down,
that's
it
right.
actually means
winding down.
Yeah, well, you know, we go and sit on a couch with the telly on. That is not winding down.
That's right.
Yeah. But we think that's winding down. And I think historically that term has probably come from going to move somewhere, you know.
That's why people reach for the ale.
Anything.
Ian, do you know what I mean? You know, they reach for that glass of wine of a night time because all day they've been stressed. You know what I mean? Or you know, and you know, we can get on this sort of hamster wheel, can't we, in life? And then we come home and the nervous system is so fired up. And also, we our default is to live in the head. So you know, it can be all right. We've got to reach for, maybe it might be the bath, but sometimes the bath ain't going to cut the mustard. You know what I mean? And then we're putting Netflix on. We're trying to tune out, but you know, that's not really doing its job. And then it might be a glass of wine, or in some cases for a bottle. It's going to have to be a bottle of wine for me to actually relax, unwind, untangle my thoughts and the tension that I'm holding in my body, to actually allow me some sort of dreamless rest.
But I've realised that wasn't serving me.
Yeah, exactly.
But what we got up to did.
Yeah.
And I just think the term unwind, I think it actually means movement. I really do. Because that's the most I've felt relaxed.
Yeah.
And out of the,
I mean, you do look great, you know what I mean? I know, like you're saying, it's been a few weeks now.
Yeah.
And I know, you've been home and it does take a bit of time to integrate. You know, there's an afterglow after the retreat.
Definitely.
For a while, you know what I mean? And that afterglow I mean, there's no doubt change. The change is instant, and it's also gradual, you know, and there's no doubt you come out of retreat a different man from what you go into it. And then there's this process then that you're integrating, and you've been given all these tools, and even though you're saying, all right, I haven't sort of felt into it over the last few weeks, you're still on that wave, you know what I mean? And that's going to be like that for a while as such.
Integrating something different.
It's a massive integration because,
where yoga is easy to integrate.
Well, that's it. You know, we're talking about the hero's journey. We've been on a 5-day retreat, you know, coming back to James. Had you done anything like that, James, before? No. You know, we can live in just almost this, like, collective story, can't we, where you know, we're going to work 9 to 5, but we're working 40-50 hours a week. You know, we get to the weekend, I know you play golf, and you know, you might have a few ales with the lads, and then you know, it's almost like there's just it's like a default, isn't it? You know what I mean? You just get into this space, and then you get on retreat, and the reason it took you probably a few days for you to feel into it is because it's so alien to your narrative. It's so different to the paradigm that you've been living in. You know, it can take a bit of time, and then, you know, you certainly got that juice, you know, day 3, 4 and 5, you know what I mean? And
because I didn't know anything about my friend, Rob.
Yeah.
He said, I'm going on this thing, and I was at a point in my life where I went, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
I am in.
Yeah.
And I did not know anything about it. I didn't know you guys.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it had entailed.
Yeah.
I just went,
I'm in.
is
And you
it.
just knew you were looking for something. You know, we're all inevitably, especially as men, we're looking for some sort of initiation. We're looking for something purposeful. And sometimes it takes, you know, we have to look at our life. It takes an element of will to actually invest in yourself and come on retreat. There's a willingness, you know what I mean? But we get through this position where sometimes we go, is this my life? There's more to this, you know what I mean? Okay, I've got a decent life. I know you've got a great job. I know you have fun in your life. You know what I mean? I know you've got some hobbies. I know you live in a lovely house. You know what I mean? But sometimes that doesn't cut the mustard, does it? You know what I mean? You can tick all these boxes, drive the nice car, you know, in the X amount of pounds for the nice job a year, but you feel uninspired, unfulfilled. And you just know there's something missing. And we try to fill it with instant gratification, don't we? And don't get me wrong, you get that pleasure for a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with emotional satisfaction, that pleasure. But you know there's depth. You know there's something more deep and meaningful to you, do you know what I mean? And coming on retreat, you know, from a sense of knowing, I know something within inside me needs to be activated. And obviously you trusted your mate, and Rob is a mate of mine. He's done a lot of the courses here in Liverpool. So like there was just a nice blend then of like, you know what, I'm in for this. And then no doubt since retreat, you know, how's life been for you?
It's been unbelievable. It's exactly how you've explained it there. It was like, I should be having a good life. Everyone should be happy.
Yeah.
It's a good life, but I still couldn't open that door.
Yeah.
But after every single day, it was a wow moment.
Yeah.
And it's for me. It was for me.
Yeah.
And it just brought things out. And then I was a bit scared leaving, thinking, this is just amazing place.
Yeah.
Amazing experience, amazing men.
Yeah, amazing facility.
How am I going to get...
Yeah.
How am I going to do out in the real world now? But it was like a skyrocket.
Yeah.
And I just felt like someone had pressed the reset button on me.
Yeah.
And every morning I woke up and I was up.
Yeah.
I was like, give me my hours of my day.
Yeah.
I said, I've got hours in the day. You learn to appreciate how long the day is.
Yeah.
And it's not just having that snooze before work because you just don't want to get up for work.
Yeah.
It's, hang on, I've got 3 hours here before
Yeah,
work.
of course.
They're my hours.
They're mine. Yeah, and we had a big chat about that, didn't we? You know, we buddied up on the King Walk on the last day, and even that you know, going up on that walk and contemplating the King, buddying up on the way down and talking about, you know, what does this mean to you in your life and how can we create order? What is purposeful to you? And we had a great conversation in, like, you know, there isn't just these 8 hours, you know what I mean? There's like, you know, how much do you want life? You know, and talking about your time and creating that space of a morning, going, hang on, I've already had 8 hours sleep. So if I get up, you know, a bit earlier and start feeling into the things which I know are not just good for me, but I know that's going to activate my potential. I know that's going to put a spark in my heart space. And then all of a sudden you're skipping into work, aren't you? Yeah. You're flying in work, and then, you know, you've had all this self-care, which is a sense of self-respect, and then you're maintaining yourself on a daily basis. No, you can't not be flying. Do you know what I mean? And then you take that into all the different endeavours, don't you? You know, you've been coming up to Planet Yoga in Liverpool, you live in Warrington, you've been getting into the yoga, and you're just sitting here, mate, with a sense of just confidence. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's written all over you, you know what I mean? And it's best part of our job, Craig, isn't it?
It is, mate. Mate, we met on Zoom the other night, and I loved your sharing on Zoom. Can you let us know what's changed for you in your relationship with people? You remember you told us a couple of stories about your mum and dad and your niece and nephew. Could you share it with us?
Yeah, it's just the most beautiful thing is we learn a lot about connecting with people and giving people space and making eye contact, which just invites people in to tell the story and communicate. And it was perfect because I can now I'm holding a conversation, but I'm really interested.
Yeah, connected.
It just exactly, just connected to you.
Yeah.
And I wanted to connect more with my family. So I I was going to go, well, I'll just go round and see him, but hang on a minute, we've got some activities we could do. And it was just as simple as doing the garden.
Yeah.
And my mum and dad came round. It was the day after. And we had a
Bonded.
hug.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And then I cooked him tea. And it was just a real nice time. No one looking at watches. No one worried about time.
Yeah.
Everyone's always, oh, I've got to be there. I've got to be somewhere. Checking the phones. There was none of that. It was timeless.
Yeah.
And it was just pure connection.
Yeah.
And I've not felt like that. Well, I don't know. It's like you say, you go through life and you've got this 9-to-5 job and it's just drilled into you.
Yeah.
But
I almost think that there's a syndrome in people.
Yeah.
What's next? The what's next syndrome, I say, you know what I mean? Because it's almost just like you never appreciate the now, you know what I mean? And we're conditioned to look for safety in the future, and we try to predict our next movements, you know what I mean? And you mentioned the word there, real. It was just a real connection, you know what I mean? And it's what we all wish for, actually. Everyone in this room and everyone listening to this podcast, it's what you wish for, you know what I mean? But we try to pay for these connections from externally. And when we come back to something which is simple, something which we know to be true, something which is primal within us, is to connect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is to love and to be loved and to share space, to hold space and to be present with one another. It's the greatest gift we can give ourselves and others. Our commonalities that we're here for one another, but we just don't know how to connect with one another.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, to applaud James, and he don't even think he's got onto it. He's held that space for his parents.
Yeah.
They haven't come in and wanted to change the way they're all interacting. He's been able to do it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the archetypes coming out in you. That you can hold that space with positivity and know that you should be present. It's not all about you. Yeah, so, well done for that, mate.
Boss.
Good.
And just while we're on the theme of connection, like, how was that for you during the retreat? How did you experience connection during the retreat with a group of 25 men?
It's funny, I was just thinking about this now, and I was like, oh man, I've really missed this, eh? Because we're sitting here talking, and really like just being present and here and talking. And it really just brought me back to day after day. And it felt like, I wouldn't say day after day, minute after minute, hour for hour, but we were always connecting in some way. From the first day, from the first time the circle started, people opened their mouths and they shared. And that continued every day. And I was just like, it gets deeper and deeper. And it's really, like, I didn't know men could show up like this,
Yeah.
Like, I work with men, I know men, but I didn't know that men could show up in the way with the honesty, the openness, the open-heartedness, the commitment to love and growth that was just like on display every single day from every man in the room.
Yeah.
Was just like, blew me away, There were days where I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's like it increased my own capacity to hold emotion and feeling and to witness other men with their emotion and feeling.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it creates that connection. It's just like, wow, how did this happen so quickly?
Yeah, because I know you've done other retreats, haven't you, David? Do you know what I mean? You're familiar with this type of work. Yeah. The work as in, looking at yourself and integrating, your processes and your limitations and owning your stuff. How then was Men Without Masks different, from the work you've done in the past?
So it being a men's retreat, I think, is a big difference.
Yeah.
This was very active, There was process. We did stuff. A lot of the time you go to a workshop or retreats and it's like very passive. You just take things in and you sit and you absorb what you absorb and you don't absorb what you don't absorb. But this was like, in the morning, maybe we learn about one of the archetypes. And then an hour later, you are the archetype. Yeah. That's what you are. You're doing it, right? There's no like, oh, let me just think about this in my mind.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm in this, I'm doing this. This is part of me. You're feeling it. And I think for me, that was the big shift. Like, I remember for me on the Warrior Day, for instance, was a big one for me because I was a bit like, oh, Warrior, it doesn't go nice with my nice and gentle sensibilities. And then we talked about the Warrior, and then we did some sessions in Avalon, and then we did some sessions in the beautiful rooms, and it was just like, oh yes, this is in me.
Yeah.
And this can be channeled in a beautifully positive way to move me towards my goals and my dreams and what I desire for the world and the people that I love. And I think that's the big difference, right? That's the huge difference. And also to be witnessed by other men. I think that
Yeah.
like you can't put a price tag on that, you know, because so many of us, like for me, like my father wasn't really around in my life, and I don't have any older brothers. All my brothers are younger than me. So to be witnessed by men of my own age and older than me in my vulnerability and told, yes, you are welcome as you are. We love you as you are.
That's it.
Was like, wow.
That's the
The
golden
gift
nugget.
of blessing, yeah.
Yeah, massive.
I did
massive.
actually mention to Craig that I wanted a different name than retreat.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I haven't actually been on a retreat, but I know people who have, and I've watched them and I've YouTubed retreats. And even the word retreat means to go away. Well, we went into something. We didn't go away from anything.
Yeah.
It was like we were on a motorway towards, bettering yourself. And I just still can't think of a good name for it, but it definitely wasn't a retreat.
It's like it's an immersion, you know.
An immersion, yeah.
It's like a, it's
And a driven immersion.
It's a full-bodied experience.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big process, an awakening, mate, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Just want to touch on the facility just for a second, because it was a new venue for us, and you were the first crew to kind of experience a new venue, and we thought it went really well. The facilities were perfect for the work that we did. How was it for you? How was it for you, Alex?
It was.
You had a good room, didn't you?
It was stunning.
I think when Simon came and spoke to us at the end, I think he said like Prince Charles or something has slept in that room when he came to visit the family. It was absolutely mind-blowing, amazing, like incredible, palatial.
Yeah.
Really, really incredible, really special, and a great place to do that sort of work.
Yeah. Great.
Then that was sort of the tradition, the beauty of the art and all the the antiques stuff, as I was noticing all that stuff around me. I'm just sizing it all up. Like, actually, one evening I went into the library on my own and I was looking at the bits and pieces that everyone had put. Not bits and pieces, the sacred items,
Yeah.
And there was auction catalogues around, and it included the artworks that were up there.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it is amazing. It was such an amazing space. But then to be juxtaposed by Avalon and that sort of modern wellness centre, I think you'd call it, with the pool and the sauna.
The steam room and the gym.
Room. The gym was pretty as good as any other gym you're going to get.
Yeah.
It was 10 out of 10. There wasn't a single thing about
Wasn't a
the...
blade of grass out of space, wasn't it?
It was amazing. I mean,
And the
the
flowers,
flowers,
around those hedges.
the nature.
The hedges were like,
Just,
everything was perfect.
I remember when Craig and I first went up, and we went up with Jonathan and Dave, and we just arrived. And we were sitting in that room in the library, and I just burst into tears. I just couldn't believe it. It was almost like I had to pinch myself. I thought, is this my life? This where I come to in my life? You know what I mean? To be sitting in a house and an estate which has got so much lineage and so much history. That day, even when Simon spoke about the history of the place and, the generations and the stuff, and it comes from like William the Conqueror and the history in there. It was, you could feel it, couldn't you? You know what I mean?
It was a pleasure to actually be in that sort of, in that environment.
Yeah.
And you know what the thing as well is, sometimes you can go to a place like that and you can almost feel like you don't belong or you're not welcome.
Yeah.
But every part of how the place was just, it was there for you.
Yeah.
Even like the staff, everyone was like, "Hey, how are you?"
Couldn't do enough.
Welcome. It was just so welcoming.
And it actually now it's a nice part of how we hold the space for this immersion, this retreat, because it's the process is the process. And even in our last retreat, in retreat space, which was in Whaley Hall and Whaley Bridge, beautiful place, and the process is just as potent. But this is just the icing on the cake, Craig, you know what I mean? The cherry on the top. Because when you get that free time and you can go and have a sauna, you know what I mean? You can stay in your room, you know what I mean?
You can go for a nap.
The en-suites in them rooms were like something like it's like the Ritz. You know what I mean? We're talking about 5-star.
Yeah.
Beyond 5-star. The food was incredible. The service, and so it was an immense pleasure for us felt like a holiday for us, Craig, in the end, didn't it? You know what I mean?
Did you notice?
Privilege.
When I put my bag in the room, there's no locks on the doors.
Yeah.
And then I came out of the room questioning it, and then the guy who runs it, is it Simon? He's moving a bed round, and the family were there.
Yeah.
She was carrying the daughter.
Yeah.
And I thought, we're in somebody's home here.
Yeah.
But not having the lock on the door speaks volumes for the place that it is. Yeah. It meant a lot. It's only a small thing.
But it soon felt like ours, didn't it?
Yeah.
It felt like ours.
You knew at that minute.
Everywhere was ours.
Relaxed,
Because that's the thing, we are just in the house. There is our retreat. It's not being shared by anybody else, you know what I mean? So it's very much men without masks energy throughout the whole experience for 5 days. And because that exclusivity and that intimacy has to be that energetic for us, isn't it, Craig?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, for sure. Now, the retreat itself, the retreat process, you know, we've been doing it for a number of years now. We know it's refined. We know it's potent. We know it's powerful. We know we have the capacity to move you over the 5 days and for you to leave in an empowered state, you know, ready to go on. We know that the echoes will last as well. But I'm quite sure that the viewers watching, you know, the men, the women that are watching, they want to know what the outcome is. They want to know, well, okay, the retreat is great, but how has that influenced this man's life? How has that influenced his relationships? How has that influenced his partner, his kids, his mom, his dad? How is it affecting his capacity to move into the world? What is his definition now of manhood, and what is his mission, and where is he going in life? And David, can we start with you? So, like, it's been 3 weeks. How has it been for you, and what have you taken away, and what are you moving into?
I'd say it's been up and down, but more because you're on such a high when you go and you go back into the world and everyone else is kind of where they are, you know? But also you kind of ride that wave back into life as well. I think there's two examples of like what shifted in me that come up in my life, like direct things that occurred. I had a really big conversation with my dad. Me and my dad never been very close. I took him out on Father's Day for dinner, and I sat him down and I was like, I just want to ask him a couple of questions. That turned into me talking to my dad about his life and his whole life. I literally got my dad's whole life story over the course of a few hours, right? And I'd always been quite scared to talk to my dad. You know, you think me, big man, not talk to his dad, ask his dad a few questions. But as a kid, my dad was quite an intimidating man. He told me his whole life story, like what happened when he had his first children, why he came to the UK from Jamaica, what his father was like. And he said something to me I've never heard him say before. And he was like, no one ever showed me how to be a dad. And he could tell there was a sadness behind that. There was a sadness in his whole life story. But I didn't, whereas many years ago I would have heard that and I've just looked for the things to be angry at him for. I just accepted his story as his story and just heard him completely. And I really was like, yeah, this is my dad's story. I completely understand how he's got here. That's one big thing that kind of happened. And the second thing was I had an argument with, no, it wasn't the argument, sorry. My girlfriend was upset one night. And, you know, like many of us, sometimes your missus gets upset, you don't know what to do. And I was like, oh, she's upset, don't know what to do. There's nothing I can really say. I just put some music on, you know, and I picked her up and I danced around the front room. And I just felt into the moment, you know, and it was a bit like what we'd done, you know, through the days. It's like, what's there for me right now? What am I feeling? What feels like the thing to do right now? And we just danced. We put on one of the playlists from Mem About Masks. And we just danced around the front room for maybe like 2 or 3 tracks. And then we stopped and I looked at her and she was beaming and smiling. And then we sat down and then we carried on the rest of our evening. It was just like, that wouldn't be something I'd have done before.
Yeah.
And like that having that ability to just be in that moment and be like, what's there to feel here? This is what's true. This is what's necessary. Yeah. And just move through that.
Lovely. I like the word necessary there. He just felt like that was necessary.
Yeah.
I'd just like to jump in for a minute, Craig, is you know, we sit here as facilitators, but we've done so much. We're there as participants as well. And from my own life, you know, since that first retreat we held in Dartmoor in the summer of 2017, have every single retreat I've ever been on, coming back has been a massive platform for me to continue to expand. You know what I mean? And so all my endeavours, professional and personal, have just improved. You know what I mean? Have just cleaned up. Have just found a deeper layer of meaning. You know, I'm very lucky because, you know, we get to sit on 4 retreats a year, you know, so every time I come back and so anyone listening to this and anyone maybe watching my life from the outside, my successes have certainly compounded over the last few years because of Men Without Masks, wholeheartedly. You know, that has been the number one. Obviously, there's a few other aspects in there. I've had really good people around me supporting me, i.e. my partner, Angela Thompson, and being a father and having a child there, which drives me, you know, to provide. But it's been the retreat. We come back from retreat, we have this potency, this urgency to like really want to do something purposeful, to clean up, to take responsibility, to let shit go, and to create order. And I know that it's every single time I come back, I've got clarity, and I make some moves, and literally, you know, the way people feel into the gifts I offer the world and how I hold the space in Liverpool has only come from the retreat we hold, which is Men Without Masks, you know. And I know you're the same. You come home every time from retreats, and the shit you get done is incredible, isn't it?
Well, this time is more, for me, is more sacred than any other time in my life. I spent the whole of yesterday and the day before just refining my own self-awareness, what I'm grateful for, what drives me, where I'm going, my vision, my purpose, my mission statement, my 90-day goals, my targets, and my accountability team, where I can be potentially world-class. And I'm just clear as a bell. And we were talking earlier about men's work and what it means to us. And for me, men's work, whatever that is, involves going to an edge, moving through that edge, transforming a new reality, and becoming more clear. So for me, in my journey of men's work, I'd like to say it started when I was born, but significantly it started about 12 years ago when I had a midlife crisis, but it wasn't really a midlife crisis. It was the best thing ever. Every time I've kind of done something with an intention to grow and moved into my edge, I've just had more clarity. And I've never had more clarity that I have now at any other time in my life. And I've never felt as much sacredness now as I felt at any other time in my life. And I used to get triggered by that word, sacredness, spirituality. What are you talking about? But now it's like, phew, I know who I want to become. I know what I need to do to become that man. And I know what it will give me, outer and inner. And it's like, it almost brings a tear to my eyes. And I think that's what sacredness means, finally. So yeah, it was very, very significant for me, Martin. We'll come on to Ian in a second. Just want to ask David, because we know that you're a coach, and quite a healthy number of men, actually. I know you were already a coach, but a healthy number of men leave the retreat and they end up exploring becoming some kind of coach. It's almost the inspiration of the retreat moves them into wanting to serve people. I want to ask you, like, is your toolbox a little bit more full now? Like, what did you take away from the retreat that's enabling you to be a better coach and connect with people?
Yeah, it's definitely added a few things to the toolbox in terms of just the movement, actually. The movement's a big one, actually. That's been a really big one for me. I think in some way every day I've moved. Even if it's just me moving from one end of my front room to the other, I do it with some movement, not just my linear movement. And that's something that I've actually taken into some of my work with clients. And it's hilarious. Like a couple of my clients have come back and been like, they come to me because they want to be more social, or they want to be better in their relationship. And I'm like, okay, I want you to like dance or sing for 10 or 15 minutes a day. After a week, they come back and I'm like, how's that been? I've been more positive. I've been enjoying my days more. Me and the missus have more time, or I'm meeting more people and all these other things. And I like, do you think it's to do with the dancing? They're like, well, it is, but I don't know how those two things are connected. And I just go, yeah, great, yeah. Because you're moving some more energy for the body. But it's also added to me because I've had more energy to give to people as well.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Nice.
And Ian, we loved having you on retreat, mate. You know your honesty and your truthful directness, and it was evident in the retreat that you adore your family.
Thank you.
How's it been for you since the retreat? reconnecting with your family and seeing them for the first time. And
yeah, I was nervous coming home. Played music all the way home, didn't look at my phone because they'd been in the box for a week. So I just wanted the next people I see to be them. Didn't do any business. Wow, powerful getting home. It was a lovely evening. They had a banquet for me, even though I'd had a roast dinner. Yeah, and it was lovely, and I was very grateful, and the gratitude poured out of me. Integrating with them, with this new little bit of me, I actually said to Craig, could you do me a flyer for me missus? just to say on it, Ian's been through this week, and you may expect this from him, and this from him, and this from him, and give him space to do this. And anyway, he didn't do me a flyer, so I just had to like ease my way in, mindful of it. Second day, I just wanted to be with the girls. So they were going to the gym, and I said, I'm going to meet you at the gym. Went to the gym, and they said, oh, we've got a new dad. He's never been in the gym with us. And I listened to that and tried to, obviously, I have actually slipped back a little bit, but business takes over. But no, I haven't, I've seen them today in the gym as well. So I'm making more time for the girls. So that might be the lover in me. I found an ability, and I was conscious of making it a point. I think I said it a couple of times, of listening to people that don't really serve the environment. Do you know what I mean? I can be dismissive of people because I'm busy, I've got something to do, I'm not really interested in you, yeah, and then I'm off. So been mindful of being more present with them people. But being present in conversations, I've found I've got an ability to mediate and not be triggered. Yeah. And it was, and when I say mediate, I mean, I can tell somebody without insulting them. I seem to be able to say anything nicely now, if you know what I mean. And which was good, because I would get triggered in arguments, and I would react because I could shoot them down quickly because I knew the concept back to front, or I knew the process back to front. But now I'm far better at mediating when triggered. So I think that's the best way to sum that up.
Nice.
Thanks,
yeah, it was good.
Thanks.
Can just part of being the king, is when you're on the outside looking in. Say you're like a bird of prey, and I feel like I'm on the outside looking in and not on the inside looking out. So I feel like I've got more control over my life than my life controlling me. And then that came from the walk to the top. And he was, I think Dave said, portray your kingdom. Yeah. Which is only your life, isn't it? Yeah. So I feel like sometimes I'm better on the outside looking in and not on the inside looking out. And that served me well, and that's definitely come from the retreat.
Really?
Yeah,
nice.
And it gives you the chance to see where your queen's not being the queen, or your prince is not being the prince, without snapping. Yeah, you can see it from above and just come back down and deal with it.
I think one other thing then, before we move on to the fellas over on the right, is there's definitely a bit of a buzz around Liverpool now, Ian, isn't there? You know what I mean? Where like a few years ago, obviously, I'd mentioned Men Without Masks or the men working, and it wasn't necessarily being received as much as it is now. No. And we know, I mean, I could probably reel off 20 guys from Liverpool who've all come back and are all doing incredible work, you know what I mean? And so being a Scouser and sort of, coming back from retreat, how's it been like, sharing your experience with other like Scoutsmen?
Oh, I'm still choosing who to open up to.
Yeah, of course.
I really am. But I can put up with the laughs and the giggles at the start. Yeah. But then they are intrigued. Yeah. Because they know a few others who've been on it. Yeah. And they're like, well, he's a good lad, him.
Yeah, he's a good lad. He's on the ball.
Yeah, so why have those two been on it?
Yeah. What's going on here?
Yeah, and then when you start, only if they're inquisitive, you'll start talking through your whole story. I'd say Men Without Masks for me is the epiphany of my journey so far. Yeah. But I see my journey as a never-ending jigsaw. Yeah. And I'm adding pieces to it, and I'll never finish it. Yeah. I don't want to finish it because I would be egotistical to think I could finish it, and what you do when you're finished. But with regards to what you're saying about Liverpool, like just to go to yoga 8 years ago is step one. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't know what to wear. I've never been to yoga. And then to go to meditation with you, step 2, it's another piece of jigsaw. And then to take mushrooms, are we cool talking about these?
Yeah.
Step 3, DMT, Cambo, just circles, Mark, and these small things integrate, and you reach out like a spider's web, and more lads come in.
Yeah.
You know how many lads go to yoga now?
Yeah.
I'm talking 8-10 years ago, there was none.
Yeah.
So this is groundbreaking because it's bringing it all together. Whereas I've been looking for it.
Yeah.
And had to do it the hard way.
Yeah.
Although I've enjoyed it. But this is the epiphany for me. I would go on this again and again and again.
Yeah.
I really would.
Yeah.
Because I've come back from it, and I think I've been able to speak about integrating it and, you know, not getting triggered, and, you know, the 3, 4, 5 things.
Yeah.
You could go back on it and get another 10 amazing
We know men who have
qualities
been
from
on it, you know, more than once, you know what I mean? You come back and you're actually, you're seeing the retreat and you're experiencing it from a different lens as well, you know what I mean? From a different vantage point. And you'll pick up things that you may have missed last time, you know what I mean? Or, you know, there's definitely more of a, you know, you may lean into one of the archetypes a little bit deeper, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So we see men, you know, who come back and repeat the experience and have a completely different experience.
Yeah, of course.
It's seamless, by the way.
Yeah.
You need to applaud yourselves. Yeah, both of you. I haven't known Craig long. Your journey's amazing. That course, you know, I've been on courses. I was in the fire brigade for 15 years, so I've been on courses that are honed down to, like, there's nothing missing in them. You'll go on an 8-week course to do with cutting people out of cars and, you know, paramedic courses and stuff like that. That was seamless, that course. And in a new way. You know, the flip chart, you weren't really on it much.
No.
You know, I wasn't bored by PowerPoint presentations.
No.
It was very integrated from a good place. Yeah. Very impressed.
Boss.
Very
Nice
impressed.
one,
Yeah.
Thanks. Alex.
Yes.
Alex probably doesn't want me to say this because he's very modest. But Alex is waiting to have a heart transplant. Even though he didn't mention it on retreat at all. He did everything on the retreat that everybody else did. And he was an absolute star. Alex, we know you've been waiting for a while now, and there's obviously you're tentative and it could happen at any time. How has your experience in the retreat kind of helped you just settle into yourself, and how has it been for you in the last few weeks, you know?
It's a total game changer, the retreat, for me. You were talking earlier about this toolbox, and David added a few things to his toolbox. I never even had a toolbox. so you know, it's now, wow, you know, this thing. And one thing I got from the retreat was a feeling of I discovered a new level of safety within myself. So it doesn't matter about the what I've got to ahead of me on my road of life. I know that if I can connect with myself or get out of my brain and into my body, that there's a level of safety there, and I'm going to be okay. And it really was a very special experience. I think if every bloke in the country could go on this retreat, or was open to it at least, I think the world would be a different place. Someone spoke about, it came to me before, the ripple effect. So people are inquisitive, aren't they? When I've been at a wedding this past weekend, I'm seeing a lot of my old schoolmates, and they're like, you have changed, like something is different, you know. You've got a different vibe, different energy coming off you. It's been a total life changer for me. Personally, intimately, my missus doesn't even recognise me anymore. You know, I would fly off the handle and do whatever before the retreat, and now I'm calm. I can go into things and think, I wonder what that's bringing up for her and her, you know, in this situation.
More of a compassionate space.
Really compassionate and so present now. It really has changed so many aspects of my life. I think my missus will thank you both, actually.
This is the human experience right here, though, isn't it? You know what I mean? This is what wealth is. This is what living a rich life is connection, is presence, you know what I mean? And then authenticity, you know, and relatability. And these are the wonders of the world. You know what I mean? And we miss it.
We don't even know about it.
Exactly.
You know, we're not taught about it.
Absolutely.
It needs to get into schools, Craig.
Yeah. Maybe that's something you could do.
I mean, you know, it is you know, what Alex is talking about here. You do change, you know, and we lose weight in the retreat, but not physical weight, energetic weight. We release baggage. we release stuff that we've been holding on to consciously and unconsciously for such a long time. And then you just look different. You smell different. People can smell you. You know what I mean? It's like, you just, what is it? And because you give off a new aroma, you see. There's a new aroma energetically. Yeah, you're just like, I can't put my finger on it. But wow, you just feel great. You know, and there's a sense of grounding, isn't there?
Yes, mate. Can we talk about the 100 Club? Is that,
absolutely, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Or do you want to keep
No,
secret?
absolutely.
Talk about it, yeah.
Have you guys come up with that concept?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is absolutely phenomenal. The difference in how you feel after just beating the shit out of a pillow. I don't even know what it was.
Yeah.
I've tried to explain it to so many people, but that was one of the pivotal points for me. Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you. Had a good go, didn't you?
Yeah.
I watched yours. You turned around a different man from the
Yeah,
warrior.
I felt so light after that. And that was the tipping point for me.
Yeah.
That was the change. And I thought, you know what? I'm just one of these lads. You know, it doesn't strip everything else away.
Yeah.
Because everyone else has stripped everything else away.
I think what's so beautiful about the 100 Club as well is it is not just your own process and the process of safety and the process that we actually undertake. You know, there's something that we're there to release, but being a witness to somebody else's process, it's just as potent, if not more.
Yeah.
Just going to bring that up.
To witness it, to hold space, to compassionately feel that man release possibly 20, 30 years of guilt, of shame, or of anger, or of rage, something that needs, and to watch it unfold in front of your eyes, like the emotions, like and what it brings out, and the camaraderie, and the brotherhood. It's just like nothing you experience. You know what I mean? It's like you just go into war together, and you're just in that room. The energy you create, you can't bottle that stuff up. You can't buy that stuff on Amazon Prime.
You couldn't pay.
You've got to
an amount of money
fucking experience it.
Yeah.
You can only taste that stuff. You know what I mean?
But you bring it in at the right period in the 5 days. By the way, you couldn't do that on day one.
No way.
Yeah,
You know,
of course.
All very well.
we bring it in at the right
orchestrated,
times. Yeah, you know, as you said, it is seamless, and you know we've well thought it out, and there's nothing really out of place now in the retreat. But it's we also trust that what we hold space for in retreat has moved through us. Do you know what I mean? It's been a mixture of looking at what works, looking at what doesn't work, but we are now in a place of deep trust. So we have there's the core structure, but there's also, we leave a lot of room for godliness and spontaneity and magic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when that unfolds, that's where the real transformations are, Craig, as you know.
Yeah.
Like in that room, it's such a weird emotion. It's not just like watching a sad film.
No.
It's just
raw.
Something deep. It's like it tingles.
Yeah.
It's just
real,
this
isn't
weird.
it? Yeah.
But it's so safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all contained. It's safe, and then it comes out happy.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah.
And I'd like to like how Matt got us all through that.
Yeah.
And then knowing that he was going to do his.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Brilliant,
How
wasn't
he stayed so strong
Yeah.
for everyone's, because he knew how important it was for everyone to go through this experience, and he held it right up until the end. But he had to do his. It was beautiful.
How do you feel about your future, James? Looking forward to your future.
Yeah, I think the door is opened, and it's keeping it open. It's, as I say, when I first got out into the world, I was looking. It's hard to explain, and I've tried thinking how to explain it. But you said it. You put my thoughts into words. Then when you were saying there was clarity, you just want to get stuff done, and all this stuff that you've been holding on to, and it could be stuff around the house or little jobs or little things that you want to do in life. Done.
Yeah.
It was so easy. Done. There you go. And then it's just keeping it up, and I felt a real urge to tell how to tell people that they should go on it. Like you said, everyone in the country should go on this course, because I was thinking, you could be the richest footballer in the world. They do this type of work every day, and there seems to be something in sort of our class which just goes like men's retreat. No, not for me.
Yeah.
But no, any man.
Yeah.
Any man can go on it.
People only fear the unknown,
Yeah.
James, don't they? They only fear what they don't know.
Yeah.
Even if you think you're the perfect, or your life's going is how you want it, there's little gold. There's gold there that you're missing, and it could just absolutely take you to another level, and you didn't even think you had a level.
Yeah. That's right.
Or it can bring you out the slumps.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know when you said, like, explaining it to people, I know it's quite new for you to dip your toe into this, but I found it a bit of it's a burden to have an awakening. It can be heavy on your shoulders because you want to shout it from the hilltops and not everyone around you is ready.
To listen.
And it can cause anxiety.
Yeah.
You're listening to people who you love, even your dad or your son, going on and talking basically repetitive culture bullshit.
Yeah.
And you want to just go, listen, that ain't it. But until you physically experience it, and this is how you experience it, by the way, you can't, they can't really get it, can they, James? So you probably do want to shout it from the hilltops.
Yeah.
So
Every morning.
It's reining that horse in. It's
every morning
it's
when
hard,
I wake
isn't it?
up, I've got these few hours, and I would just spend just a little 5 minutes, and then I think, oh, what did I do yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, I did this, and then what am I going to do today? This, write them up.
I'm flying.
Bed made, curtains open, outside, in the garden, do my little thing.
But it is the actions speak louder than words in the end, don't they?
Yeah.
Because people in the end, you're almost just like, right, I'm going to keep this to myself. I'm just going to do me, stay in my own lane. But it's almost like you just swim into the promised land all the time. You're moving to the light, and then there's people in your life, and they're stuck in like a swamp, in a stickiness, and they see you moving, and they go, where are you going? Because the direction you're going in, and whatever you're doing, I want a piece of that.
Yeah.
I'll have a bit of that. I'll have a bite of that cake. I'll have a piece of that pizza, because that. I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing, where are you doing it? And how much does it cost? You know what I mean?
It came to me when I was trying to impart it to my sons that if they're not ready, they're not going to listen. But I remembered you emulate your heroes, but you don't listen to those who profess.
Yeah.
So I just had to crack on, and then they just copy you because like you just want to be Spider-Man, don't you? You just want to be your dad. Yeah. But if you give it them, have you been trying to explain to people or bring them on board?
Yeah, and it does it like a hard air sometimes when you first start off.
Yeah.
But then, right, okay, then I'm going to explain this bit to you and this bit to you, and then all of a sudden, I found a lot of the girlfriends were like, really, oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I need one of them. I need one of them. And then eventually the lads will just go, oh, yeah. All right. And then it was like, and you do get in, and you must see it in your face and how much you believe. And,
And you're always going to get your naysayers. You're always going to get people buzzing off it. You know what I mean? And that's okay. You know what I mean? It's important that we accept everybody's process in the end. You know what I mean? We're not saying that this retreat is the only thing out there. We're not. We're just saying that, we're really talking about the bigger picture here, fellas, aren't we? About what it means to be a man. Do you know what I mean? About the hero's journey. About what it is to step into your potential. To do something purposeful in your life. To not look back and go, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know what I mean? I wish I would have tried that, or you know what, I could have been a bit more compassionate, or I wish I would have been a lot more present. I just didn't see nothing. I missed it all. There's that quote by John Lennon, life happens when you're busy making plans, you know what I mean? And so, when it comes back down to what we know is true and is primal, is a sense of connection, is a sense of humanness. This is what it's about, and we just know that, being a man and being safe around other men initiates and activates that, that divinity, really, isn't it? That sacredness, that sense of connection, that sense of love.
I think that even though, you'd just love them to go on it and experience. I think just the fact that you've told them is enough. I have to see that enough, because I know then if that person did get to a point, there's a future there. He knows the answer. I've given him the answer. And he knows. At least if he's not ready yet, that's fine. But he knows there's a way out, or there's something there.
Yeah.
Instead of just going, holding his hands up.
And conversations like this one will eventually, make things normal, make this type of retreat a viable option for men. And so we're doing our best to kind of make it become normal, and we're moving in the right direction. But the reality is it isn't normal yet. So I think this is a good time to kind of end on a round where we each give a message to any man that's seen this type of work, feels a calling, makes an inquiry, really wants to come on it, but then somehow ignores the calling. So maybe we could end on this, yeah? So David, what message would you have for this type of man?
I'd say, if I was speaking really directly, I'd say, do you remember that thing you wanted to do years ago that you didn't do? And you look back now and you really wish you'd done it. You see other people that did it and you wish you'd seen their journeys and where they've gone. Don't let this retreat, don't let Men Without Masks be another one of those things, because it can very easily, you feel a calling, and the calling can even be a fear, right? Because often a fear is a signal on the other side, is there something that you want to move into that's unknown to you. Follow through. Let this be something that you follow through with and take the benefits and reap the rewards from it.
Nice.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I would say to any man that's got a niggle and you know what it is, but you don't really know what it is, and you itch it every weekend, but it doesn't ever go away and it doesn't fill you up, and standing on the terrace and getting pissed and getting off your tits doesn't fill your niggle by the Monday, it's because this will fill your niggle. This is what you need. This is your niggle. Get rid of it. It's a spiritual niggle. It's inside you. Yeah, you're denying it. Yeah, but it's you know it's not going away, because what you're doing is not going to make it go away. So get on this, or get on something associated with this. If it's too deep for you at the start, just speak to Craig or speak to Martin, or go to a yoga class and meet the two of them, and then make the jump, and your niggle will be itched. Won't go away.
Makes it worse.
It's the unfinished jigsaw puzzle.
In Welsh there, the Jedi.
Yeah.
I taught you well, lad.
Thanks, mate.
It's the greatest indulgence, or the greatest investment anyone could do for themselves, in my opinion. That that transaction is the greatest thing, and it there isn't a 5-day experience where someone could learn more about themselves or about the world, about how to be. And I would say just show up, do it. You wouldn't regret it. And it was the best thing I've ever done, and I was probably the most reserved going into it. It's a game. It's a life changer. It's a game changer. I know I've said that word a few times, but it really is.
Boss, lovely.
Yeah, I think if any man's out there, if they've seen that sign, if they see the Men Without Masks, if someone's told them about it, like my friend did about me, you're in. Go for it. If you're looking for stuff like that, this is the stuff. This is the good stuff.
The only stuff.
This is the goal.
The pure.
You won't regret it. And I felt all the way up to day one. I hope it's not too late. I hope I've not left it too late to change my life. And you haven't. No one's left it too late. Go for it. Go to your edge. Go all in.
Boss.
You won't regret it.
I think my message that's coming to me in this moment is you know if you need to do it. You know if you need to do something like this. There's an inner knowing. Ian called it the itch. There's an inner knowing. It's the inner knowing that knocks on the door internally. Mate, you got more than this. Mate, there's more in you. Mate, you've got more gifts. Mate, there's a bit of darkness that you need to deal with. Mate, time to get out your head. Whatever it is, there's a knowing that something needs to change. And externally, the new car won't do it. The new iMac won't do it. The new girlfriend won't do it. The new house won't do it. The holiday won't do it. Netflix won't do it. Whether it's our retreat or another type of inner work, when are you going to invest in yourself?
It's pretty simple, really. It's get out your own way. I think when we truly step out of the culture that we've been programmed to live in and cultivate that courage to truly be the explorer. We're all natural explorers. We all want to deeply adventure. And the adventure is an internal one. It really is. And when we can deeply adventure in our inner world, you know, and have the courage to do so and know that we can look in the mirror where we're not wearing any masks and we can truly look ourselves in the eye and went, I fucking give it my best shot. I showed up. I got out my own way and I explored it. And then you explore your external world from a different place. Totally different place. It's not what you just do in the world, but it's from the place you do it. And so that advice is to just get out your own way. And sometimes you got to step into that unknown. You got to step into, you're not afraid of the unknown. You're just afraid of the idea of the unknown. You know, it's not, and it's just, the uncertainty is a beautiful place. And so it's about making friends with it. It's about getting excited for it. And yeah, instead of trying not to die, not about survival, it's about thriving. And you know, deep down, whoever you are listening to this, you want to thrive, you want to live, and you want to explore. So come and join us, come and get involved, get your hand in your pocket. You know, the few of the lads here talking about investing, that's exactly what it is. It's an investment. So come and invest in yourself because you won't look back.
To
that. Love that. Make friends with the unknown. Thanks for that. Beautiful, beautiful. We've been programmed by society to catastrophize the unknown. See it all the time, and there's magic in the unknown. So thanks for that, Martin. And thanks for you men for gracing us with your presence again. It's great to feel you again and be in your space. And
it's great
to magic's back again, isn't it? Like that. And, it doesn't take long.
Yeah, thanks, Martin.
Thank you, mate. Great conversation.
So if you are intrigued, curious, you want to know more, we encourage you to reach out. You can find us on the website menwithoutmasks.com. You'll find Men Without Masks on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and on Facebook. And feel free to get in contact where we can answer any of your questions. And with that, we are out.
Absolutely. Creating Space, episode 17. Thank you for checking in, and we'll see you next time for the next episode. Real conversations, real people. Okay, gents, let's call it a night. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, man. Cheers, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Creating Space is sponsored by the Scouse Guru app, an all-purpose meditation app that feeds into all your needs, developing peace of mind, increasing mental focus, lowering stress levels, while discovering inner stillness, awakening your potential and educating you on all matters related to human behaviour and personal development. Download the app for free on the App Store or get it on Google Play today.